Hi, or Falcha, as they say in Gaelic Irish, which means 1,000 welcomes. This is Pat.
And Pete.
We're so glad that you're interested in looking at this presentation. We were in Ireland this past May.
First time for this Italian.
And though it was filled with the spirit of the Irish people and her culture and traditions and music and history and architecture and geological wonders and more.
And don't forget the food, the pubs, and the drinks.
Oh, of course. We just kept wishing we had more time to savor every single spot and have our family and friends like you with us to share with it and to build new memories.
So we're going back and hopefully taking you with us. This short YouTube presentation is filled with all the details of what you will experience day by day for the 11 days from October 2nd to the 14th, 2019.
We picked our favorite places to return to for more in-depth exploration, and we partnered with Celtic.Tours to customize our unique itinerary. Greg Hindman, Celtic Regional Manager, put this presentation that you're about to see together because if you know Pete, he's just too technically challenged to do this on his own.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate the presentation. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, adult or otherwise, sit back, relax, enjoy this presentation of Ireland, the land we are excited about.
And we hope that you'll say yes to this experience and go with us or call us for more information.
And now we turn this over to you, Greg. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for joining me for Pat Michener and Pete Linto's Spirit of Ireland Tour, October 2nd to the 14th, 2019. My name is Greg Hindman. I am the Regional Sales Manager for Celtic.Tours. Celtic.Tours is the operator of this tour in Ireland. We are a leading European operator which was founded in 1972. We offer packages to a number of areas including Ireland, the UK, Italy, Croatia cruises, and much more. Pat Michener and Pete Linto are your travel advisors for this trip. There's all their contact information there. They are proud members of Travel.Planners International, which is one of our top agents that Celtic.Tours works with nationally. Today we're going to go through the itinerary day by day. Give me about 20 minutes of your time. The goal of this presentation is to be able to give you an idea of some of the hotels, what you're going to see in Ireland, and really what are the differences compared to what you might see out on the internet. So let's get started. Again, the tour is October 2nd to the 14th, 2019. Spirit of Ireland. Now, Pat and Pete have been to Ireland. They put this custom trip together with Celtic.Tours, so there's a lot of different places that you will see in Ireland that normally are not on a regular tour. So you leave October 2nd, USA. If you've traveled to Europe before, you know you leave the night before. You actually arrive in Ireland the next day in Dublin. So you can see there, it's a complete itinerary. What you will do is you'll go over to the right on the map. You start in Dublin. You arrive in Dublin. You'll have a guide that will pick you up that day at the airport, a Celtic guide. You will travel south to Waterford for one night, and then you will head 4 nights over in southwest Ireland to Dingle and Killarney, a beautiful, one of my favorite areas in Ireland. Then you head 2 nights up to Galway, 2 nights in Belfast, and last your final night in Dublin. So look at the hotels here. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. These are 4- and 5-star properties. You have a castle stay. You have a beautiful 5-star property in Belfast. And that is one of the main differences. If you're looking at price at this trip, you're staying at top-of-the-line hotels. And that's a key for when you want to go to Ireland. So let's get into the itinerary itself. So day 2 is when you arrive. Again, I say you fly overnight, so you leave the States on October 2nd. Day 2, you arrive in Dublin. As I said, your Celtic driver guide will meet you. Make sure before you book your air, talk to Pat and Pete about your arrival time. You have to be there usually by 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So make sure if you're going to book your air on your own, that you coordinate with Pat and Pete when your arrival time is. You travel a short distance once you arrive in Dublin to Kilkenny. Now on the left there, you have a nice visit to Kilkenny Castle, and then on to Waterford. Waterford is a great riverfront city, as you see there. Now you're going to have a long day because you're going to be traveling overnight, so this is a great opportunity to stretch your legs and be able to get out and walk around and probably have lunch there in Waterford. Now when you continue on that night, that first night in Ireland, you want to have a nice place to relax. Now, Pat and Pete have coordinated the Waterford Castle. Waterford Castle was named in 2018 as the Ireland's Castle of the Year. So it is a great property that you're going to be able to spend time there in Waterford. So as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, some beautiful accommodation, 4.5-star property. Waterford Castle is located on a 318-acre island. You actually take a ferry to be able to get to it. It's a 19-property hotel. It's beautiful. It has been renovated in the Fitzgerald family for thousands of years, and you have a great time. It's a great property to spend your first night in Ireland. So day 3, October 4th, you're going to wake up in Ireland. You're going to leave Waterford, the Waterford Castle, and you're going to travel to Dingle. Now, as I said, Dingle is probably one of my favorite areas in Ireland. It's a beautiful area on the southwest coast on the wild Atlantic Way. You continue on to Cashel, visit the Rock of Cashel. Next stop, you'll have some shopping at the Blarney Mills, and then time to kiss the Blarney Stone at Blarney Castle, and you'll stay overnight in Dingle at a small, quaint, beautiful hotel, Dingle Skillet Hotel. This is a picture of Rock of Cashel. Actually, this castle is a very important property compared to Christianity. The King of Munster in the early 5th century was actually baptized to Christianity by St. Patrick, and it was key in the spread of Christianity through Ireland. So you can actually get a tour of the castle. You'll be able to walk around. It's a beautiful property. There is some walking up to the castle, so you need to be pretty mobile to be able to get up there. And then you continue on to the Blarney Woolen Mills. This is a great opportunity to be able to do some shopping for some Aran Mills sweaters and other opportunities in Ireland. Right next to the Blarney Mills is the Blarney Castle. Here's a picture of Pat and Pete on a trip recently and experiencing the Blarney Castle. Now, you can actually walk from the Blarney Mills over to the castle. It's a great time to be able to get out and stretch your legs. Once you get there, you actually walk to the top of the castle. At the top of the castle, you will lay down on your back and you turn around and kiss the Blarney Stone. Now, folklore has it if you kiss the Blarney Stone, you have the gift of gab. So again, it's another opportunity to experience Ireland. This will be one of the highlights of the trip. And you can continue on to the Dingle Peninsula. This is a picture of the Dingle Peninsula, actually a picture I took a couple months ago on my tour. As you can see, the green checkerboard area in Dingle. And Dingle is probably world famous for County Kerry for their dairy, their butter, and their milk. So make sure you experience this when you're in there. Now that night you're going to check into the Dingle Skillet Hotel. This is a picture of it. It's actually on the bay there. It's a beautiful, beautiful property. As you can see there on the left-hand side, it's definitely 4-star hotel rooms for the accommodations there. So you're going to actually be outside of Dingle, the town of Dingle, but you actually get this beautiful property and be able to look at the beautiful views. In the background, you actually see the Ring of Kerry from the Dingle Peninsula. So on day 4, you wake up in Dingle. It's October 5th. You're on the Wild Atlantic Way. Today, you're going to spend some time being able to tour in Dingle itself. And actually, that afternoon, you're going to be able to come back. And that weekend is the annual Dingle Food Festival. Now, Dingle is famous for its fish and chips because they are very fresh. You're going to be able to shop around and be able to have some walking time. Before you do that, all right, there's going to be a morning visit to the Blaskett Center. All right, the Blaskett Center provides a stunning view. It's a fascinating heritage and cultural museum honoring the unique community which lived in the remote Blaskett Islands until their evacuation in 1953. As you can see there on the left-hand side, that is a picture of the Blaskett Islands. So you can continue on that. It's a beautiful opportunity. Now, this is a picture of Dingle when you come back that afternoon. As I said, it's a quaint village. It's one of my favorite villages in Ireland to be able to walk around. The people are friendly. The pubs are open. The Guinness flows freely. So it's a great little time to be able to spend the afternoon that evening in Dingle. Now, next morning, again, important. Every day you get breakfast on your tour, so breakfast is included. You'll note that there are some dinners on your own, but there are included some dinners also. So that morning you wake up in Dingle. We're going to travel over to Killarney. Killarney is a beautiful city, all right? And you get to enjoy a traditional jaunting cart ride through the island. This is a picture of the jaunting cart ride. So what's famous about Killarney is you get to enjoy the national park. You can see it is some beautiful scenery there in the national park. You get to be around. And then at completion in the afternoon, you can actually go tour the Muckrouse House. And this is a early century house that has been turned into a museum. and gardens. It really gives you a beautiful scenery out there outside of Killarney in the national park. That night you will stay at the Killarney Plaza Hotel and Spa. It is right downtown city center in Killarney. You're going to get dinner that night. You'll be able to actually go out that night and explore, since you are city center, and some of the pubs and music of Killarney. So day 6, October 7th, you're waking up in Killarney. Today you're going to travel the world famous Ring of Kerry with a stop in Kenmare, and then continue on to a sheepdog demonstration and return to Killarney for overnight. You have breakfast this morning. So now let's talk a little bit about the Ring of Kerry. This is probably one of the world's famous drives in Ireland. As you can see, there's a picture of the Ring of Kerry, some beautiful scenery, photographic opportunities. Make sure you bring your camera, because this is probably one of the highlights of the trips. And then you'll continue on the sheepdog demonstration. You'll be able to see how the dogs actually corral the sheep, and talk a little bit about how they do it and learn some of the commands that they have. And then it's important to note this day, you are day 7, halfway point of the tour. So you're actually 2 nights in Killarney, and now you're going to continue up to Galway, over to Belfast, and back down to Dublin. So you see you're going to have, now at this point, you're going to continue on to day 7. You'll have breakfast this morning in Killarney before you leave to Galway. So you leave Killarney this morning and travel to Tarbert. Now it's important to note, you get a ferry crossing in Kilrush. That's not a normal crossing that a lot of tours do. So make sure you look at it, compare. Usually you get a lot more driving, but that's going to save some time to be able to travel along County Clare coastline with a stop in Doolin, probably for lunch in Doolin, and then continue on to the next World Heritage Site of the Cliffs of Moher. So the Cliffs of Moher is a beautiful 800-foot drop-off on the western Wild Atlantic Way of Ireland. As you can see, these are some pictures that I actually took a couple months ago when I was in Ireland, and it's probably one of the most photogenic spots in Ireland. And that afternoon, you can continue back up to Galway City. You see here, Galway City is a beautiful town where they have outside entertainment, great pubs to be able to go into, shopping available. So you will have some time that afternoon in Galway City You are going to be staying a little bit outside of Galway in the actual hotel that you will be working at will be the Galway Bay Hotel. It's in Salt Hill. It's a beautiful property. It's a 4.5, 5-star property that you'll have there, and you'll have dinner that night. So day 8, October 9th, you wake up in Galway. We continue north in a little different area called Connemara. You can see the photogenic area of Calmore Abbey. You're going to do some touring of the Celtic Crystal Factory and the Marble Factory. Plenty of time for shopping during this time. So as you can see there's the left is an actual picture of Calmore Abbey. It's a beautiful property. Actually, you'll learn more about the history, some great photo opportunities there. So the Connemara region, what is this all about? Here's the pictures that you can see. It's a very rocky, desolate area of Ireland. But what's important about it, all this, they call this the bog, as you see there. And what they do in the summertime, they actually pick up the bog, they dry it out, and they use it for heating other houses in the wintertime. So it's a very important time. You actually be able to see some of this as you travel along with some of the great stone fences that they actually built around this area. This is another picture of the Calmore Abbey. I actually took this picture, as you can see it, but there's great photo opportunities here. And you continue on to the crystal demonstration. You'll have actually a gentleman that will actually show you how to carve the crystal. And there will be some opportunity to actually purchase some crystal there at the factory itself. So day 9, all right, so really you're halfway through the trip. October 10th, you're going to go from Galway north to Belfast. You're going to head into Northern Ireland. Now, Northern Ireland is a great opportunity to be able. It's very safe now. You're going to go into the British UK territory. Now, the currency will change to actually the pound, British pound, and you go to the city, a 5-star hotel that you'll be staying at, the Culloden Hotel. Now, again, this is a great opportunity to be able to sit back, relax, and enjoy a stay, because you're going to be, again, you're more than halfway done on the tour. You'll be staying at the 5-star Culloden Hotel and Spa. I just had a group come back from this. This is one of their highlights of the stay. As you can see, there's a great opportunity to be able to swim, so indoor pool, so bring your swimsuit. As you can see on the right there, the actual accommodations are 5-star. It's a beautiful property just outside the city of Belfast. but it does give you an opportunity in the afternoon. It's about a 3-hour ride down from Galway up north to Belfast, so it'll be a great, you will have a stop for lunch, but it's a great opportunity to be able to relax a little bit outside of Belfast. So now day 10, October 11th, you're going to get up with breakfast that morning, all right, the Culloden Hotel. You're going to head north along the Atrium Court to the UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Giant's Causeway. Now, the Giant's Causeway is a legend of Finn the Giant challenged a fight to the Scottish giant, leading to the formation of the causeway. And I won't get into that, but you'll have a great opportunity to hear about the legend there. So you can see there on the left is the Giant's Boot. That actually was carved out of the formations that you'll be able to see there. And then you continue on to the Ulster Folk and Transport Park viewing an extensive collection in Belfast that evening for dinner on your own. Now, this is actually a picture of the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. Actually, the one I took a couple months ago. In the left, you actually can see on a clear day, you can see Scotland. You can actually walk out on the rocks. You have to be very careful because they're slippery. But depending on the weather and everything, it is advisable to to stay on the pass. But people do walk out there. This is actually the Giant's Organ. On a windy day, they actually say that these formations the wind will actually hear the organ pipes play. And they consider it as the Giant. And then you can see some of the formations at the Giant's Causeway from the rock formation. So it's a very unique area of Ireland and Northern Ireland that you can actually see the Scotland coastline. Again, you continue on to the Ulster American Folk Park Museum and area. This is a really step back into the early 1900s, how the Irish people lived. So now on to day 11, October 12th. You're going to have 2 days in Northern Ireland, Belfast. Now you're going to start heading south to Dublin. Now before you get to Dublin, you're going to do the coastal route to Downpatrick, which is the gravesite of St. Patrick. On the left there, you see the St. Patrick Center. You have time to be able to go through the center there and be able to see the gravesite of St. Patrick. You learn more about Ireland's most famous saint. And you continue on to Dublin that evening, all right? And you arrive in Dublin. Now, Dublin is one of Ireland's largest cities. It's a vibrant city. And very important here, I wanted to point out, this is the Academy Plaza Hotel. This is where you'll be staying in Dublin. Now, important to note, the hotel rooms there are very small. This is a 3.5-star property. Now, Pat and Pete wanted to make sure the whole tour was able to be affordable. So what we do, the importance here is this hotel is centrally located. You can actually walk out the hotel and be able to walk down to a number of shopping areas all around downtown Dublin. So really the importance is don't look at the size of the property rooms. You're not going to spend a lot of time in your hotel room. You're going to be out enjoying the sights of Dublin. Dublin is a vibrant city again along the riverfront. You're going to be able to see Dublin at sunset along the pedestrian bridge. So it's a great be able to walk around. You're actually going to be, that night is your second last night in Ireland. You're going to attend the Irish House Party, which you will have dinner and dancing. So it's a great opportunity to be able to spend one of your last few days in Ireland. So day 12 now, we're actually going to wake up on October 13th. You're going to travel from Dublin to Brú-na-Bóin, which is an afternoon, which is a beautiful area that has a large passage tomb, exists over 5,000 years old. On the left there, you can see the tombs in the area. Now this area is older than Stonehenge or the Gaza pyramids. So really there's some old ancient history in Ireland and be able to explore that. So this is one of the passage tombs. Now depending on availability, it's possible we'll be able to get to view one of the tombs. And then we continue on to Newgrange, which is a beautiful picture here in the mist in Newgrange. So you'll learn more about the ancient history of Ireland on this tour. And then you continue back to the afternoon. You continue back to Dublin and spend some time on your own. You can actually go to the Temple Bar area. You can walk to this area from your hotel. Some great pubs here to be able to experience Irish music, some beautiful drinking from Guinness and other areas. So it's a great out for your last night in Ireland to be able to spend in the Temple Bar area, quick walking distance from the hotel. So that's your last night. You wake up the next morning. After breakfast, you transfer to the Dublin airport, which are included. So a lot of times transfers are not included. You make sure that you're shopping on that. So you actually get to return home for your flight from home from Dublin to the USA on day 13. Now it's very important to note, once you leave Dublin, you actually clear customs and immigration in Dublin before you arrive in the USA. So if you're flying back to New York, for example, you do not have to go through a customs and immigration. Now, you know how long those lines can be. It's very important that you actually cleared customs in Dublin. You have to arrive at the airport 3 hours before your flight to be able to clear customs and immigration in Dublin. But it is an advantage of getting back to the USA, so you don't have to do that. You go right to your connecting gate, and your luggage follows you home to your final destination. So really now, I want to go over what is the tour, how much does it cost, what's included, and we'll just do some of the differences, all right? You're going to get excellent 4- and 5-star property hotels throughout, breakfast daily except the day of arrival. You get 5 hotel dinner, plus a dinner entertainment in Dublin I talked about, that you have that second and last night in Dublin. Full sightseeing by Deluxe Touring Motor Coach, so it's a private small group that you will have a professional Irish driver guide to escort you throughout. He'll pick you up at the airport, he'll be with you through the whole tour, and he will actually depart. He will take you back to the airport. So it's a great way to be able to see. Now, as that included, Pat and Pete are actually going to be on this tour. They will be there with you. They've been to Ireland, so it's a great way to experience Ireland if you haven't been there, or if you have been and you want to see some new areas of Ireland that you missed before. So all those visits and missions I talked about, if there is a cost to included with those admission, it is included in the package, so you do not have to pay additional. Included also is a portage of 1 suitcase per person. So once you get off the motor coach, you will actually have the luggage. The porters will at the hotels will pick up your luggage. They will bring them to your room, and the next morning, the final morning that you leave, they will pick them up and bring them back down to the motor coach. So that is included with the gratuity. Hotel tips and taxes in Ireland are included. A lot of times there are VAT taxes on the hotel room. That's an additional that is included in the price of this tour. Now, what is not, you need to be, as you go on a cruise, similar, the gratuity to the driver guide is not included in this package. That's about 6 to 8 euros per day that you, at the end of the tour, you would actually give to the driver guide. So that would be an option that you would have to be responsible on your own. You are included a Celtic.Tours flight bag and a portfolio of travel documents. So what's the cost of the tour? The cost of this tour is $33.95 per person. That's sharing, land only. You need to call for your best available airfare. You can actually search on your own, or you can get with Pat and Pete. They can see what availability is offered there. A single supplement is applicable during that time, so there's limit available on a single room. So if you want to have a single room, you need to reserve that immediately. Optional travel insurance is highly recommended. $170 per person between, $244 on a single. Pat and Pete do have more information on the travel insurance. If you request that from them, they can send that to you. So how do you reserve your trip? So the payment schedule to reserve your trip, Pat and Pete will get you the information. There is a form you fill out, included along with your passport. It's $250 initial deposit, plus the insurance if you're taking that. The second payment of $500 is due May 30th, 2019, and the final payment is due July 29th, 2019. So you see you have some opportunity to be able to pay over time on this trip. We do take credit cards, so you can actually do that, or checks. The information is all available on the flyer that Pat and Pete have. So important, all right? So I told you what's included. So Spirit of Ireland, October 2nd to the 14th, 2019. But what's not included? Some meals. So lunch is on your own, all right? So we offer, there will be a stop for lunch. So it's up to you to be able to, what you want for lunch. That's an additional charge. As I talked about earlier, the driver guides and tips are additional. Optional insurance. Airfare is on your own. So you basically make sure you tell Pat and Pete what time you're arriving, or coordinate with them before you purchase your airfare to make sure there is one departure from the Dublin International Airport to start the tour. So we got to make sure everybody arrives at the same time. So you make sure your passport is up to date. So you have to have that included. And any items of a personal nature. So shopping or pubs at night, that's your responsibility on your own that you have. So really, this is a great trip. Again, the big differences are you got 4- and 5-star hotel properties. So you're going to be staying in luxury hotel accommodations. You get some great times in Southwest Ireland, in the Dingle Peninsula and Killarney. That's an upgrade on most tours. You don't get that much time down there. And Pat and Pete are actually going to be accompanying you on this tour. So this is a private, small group tour. There will be no other customers. Only Pat and Pete's customers will be on this tour. So it's important to note that based on that. So hope you can join Pat and Pete and Celtic.Tours on the Spirit of Ireland, October 2nd to the 14th, 2019. I appreciate your time. If you have any other questions, please contact Pat or Pete At the above information below, you see their name. Again, I am Greg Himman, the Regional Sales Manager for Celtic.Tours. Thank you for your time and hope you can join us in Ireland.
In Manhattan's desert twilight, in the dead of afternoon, we stepped hand in hand.